All right, welcome back to another episode of the KarterKast. I'm your host, Carter Bond. With me has always been 9th time we've done this intro.
Yep, and we're at the same place.
Yep, same
That's
place.
The 9th time we're saying that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Every nothing changes. Nothing changes. Real quick, Connor was supposed to be on. We tried for like an hour. Mm-hmm. It was just not going to happen. So sorry about that. No Connor on today's episode. Bad internet. It was just not going to work today. But we're back. It's the last week of college basketball regular season.
It is.
That's it. We got Duke, Carolina.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I was walking around today. You know, it's slightly warmer. The calendar has officially hit March, and you're like, I'm ready.
Yeah, but I'm ready. It's not great for us when it's getting a little warmer. You're like, oh, it's T-shirt season.
Oh yeah, T-shirt season's rough, but it's okay.
Well, we're good. We'll sweat through the hoodies for another month.
Yes.
Yeah, the last week of college basketball right now, the last weekend, and we've talked about this. We're ready. We're ready for conference tournaments, and like those crap conference tournaments have started and everything. But it's kind of like your super old grandpa or grandma. They're like in their late 90s. You're like, I love you, but it might be time to go. Like, like you're just like, hey, let's get you in a home. Let's take care of you, college basketball. Let's push you to conference tournament time.
Yeah, it felt like we were lagging in end of regular season forever.
Yeah, you're just like, oh yeah, it just we already know.
And it's like, what are your thoughts on Kansas? They're the same.
I feel like it hasn't been as bad in the past where it's been like you don't like. I feel like my opinions have changed later on in late February and stuff. Nothing's changed for me other than like I'm buying in more to Duke, and that's about it. It was a shocker. That was always going to happen.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like a lot of my opinions have really stayed the same. And it's just that at this point, like really my opinions are just a matter of what the bracket looks like, what the matchups look like. Mm-hmm. That's really going to just dictate what I'm thinking going forward.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. But before we get into today's episode, we're brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com for $20 off your first purchase, $50 purchase minimum required. Use code KarterKast, that's KarterKast, for $20 off your first purchase for whatever sporting event. Thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring today's episode, and make sure to download the app. March Madness. You're going to conference tournaments. I'm going to Kansas City next week. I might have to use SeatGeek for the games I'm not credentialed for. Might have to just, a little KarterKast in there.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk lately about BYU, March Madness, are they in Salt Lake? And I'm going to be making the game time decision of whether I'm going to be going or not. And if I am going, I'm going to be using SeatGeek. I'm going to be using the $20 promo code.
Right here. Use code KarterKast for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek today. All right, let's get into the show. Quick rundown. We'll talk about Wake and all that stuff starting out, but we'll get into Conference Player of the Years, National Player of the Years, some tournament guy stuff, and then obviously Duke Carolina preview and the other big games on Saturday as well. Let's start off. Wake sucks.
Yeah, no, I'm just sick of them.
They make me mad because I feel like as Duke, you're like, as the Duke, you're the bigger brother. You're better than them in every aspect as Duke versus Wake. And you're like, hey, we'll give you this win. We'll give you this win. All you got to do is beat Notre Dame. All you got to do is beat Georgia Tech at home. Or win at Virginia Tech. Any of those, you're fine. Just do that. We'll give you this one. We'll get you into the tournament. We're trying to hold you along. We're holding their hands. And they just go out and blow it.
Yeah, it's like you're holding their hands and they're just like turning different directions. Like it's like taking a dog out for a walk.
Yeah.
And it's just being too frisky, wanting to go everywhere else. And you're like,
it's
no.
Like choking itself on the leash.
Yes. And you're like, you're doing this to yourself. I'm trying to help you.
Yes, we are trying to help you. I am pushing the Wake Forest narrative nonstop all season. Wake is good. Wake is a tournament team. They leave me no choice other than I don't want them in now. They've pissed me off so much, I don't want them in.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if I do either. I guess some tea, it appears, or some like connecting dots is, Monsanto.
Yeah.
Apparently he removed his Wake Forest from his bio like a couple weeks ago, and he stopped playing lately, and there's like rumors that he's causing issues in the locker room. There's locker room issues. You can't have locker room issues now.
He should cause issues. When he plays, he is the best shooter in the ACC.
Yeah, like he's the type of guy where where he plays your team and you're like, this guy's a flamethrower, and then you check his stats and he's shooting 28% from three, and you're like, how did this happen? Because whenever he plays my team, he is a bucket.
Yep.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
You know, there's always that guy.
Yeah, and he can hit 7 threes in a game. That's not an exaggeration.
He can, and he feels like an important part because, you know, if they were going to make like a second weekend run, you were assuming Monsanto is like hitting 5 or 6 threes in one of those games, you know, to upset someone. It felt like that was an essential part of the formula for him. I guess, you know, the question is right now is there a world in which there's a 3-bid ACC?
Yeah, 100%. If you guys blow it Saturday to a Georgia Tech team that can randomly shoot the 3 and go 50% from 3 when they play good teams, yeah, there's a world where there's only you guys lose Saturday, Virginia versus Georgia Tech. They're
outside looking in at that point. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do think I think there is a world in which there's a 3-bid ACC. I think it's going to be 4 ultimately.
How far do we want to push the Mountain West conspiracy theory?
Were you hearing 7-bid league?
I'm
lately?
hearing 7, but I also want to push this out there. Is Damon Stoudemire being paid by the Mountain West to push out ACC teams and just only play well in those games?
Maybe. What I will say about the ACC is at least Shrewsbury and Damon Stoudemire are good coaches, and those programs are in good hands going forward. And I think you know, even if you're taking lumps right now as a conference, you got to feel good that in 2 years Georgia Tech and Notre Dame are tournament teams.
Yep.
And I think, yeah, Georgia Tech scares me at Saturday, but at the same time, I'm like, no, I want to keep saying that UVA's due. It's
the matchup for UVA though. That's a perfect matchup for UVA, a team that just chucks threes and prays they go in, even though they're not actually a good 3-point shooting team.
Yeah. Senior night.
Teams that aren't good 3-point shooting teams don't all of a sudden just shoot lights out against Virginia. Other than Pittsburgh was probably the only one this season.
Yeah, and they were getting open looks because they just had a great game plan when they did it.
And Blake Hinson's good. He's legit good.
Blake Hinson's really good. I think this is one of those situations. I do think it's a 4-bid league.
I think it is too.
And I think it's Virginia or Wake either gets in. I think it's going to be Virginia. I think Virginia finds a way Saturday to beat Georgia Tech, and then all they got to do after that is win one ACC tournament game, and I think they're good as long as they don't lose by 50 to UNC or Duke, which they still might do.
Saturday. Hey, how's Saturday?
It was rough.
Yeah.
I didn't watch. I was at celebrating a birthday, and we were at Lululemon. I was in the Lululemon.
Yeah, Oblo weekend.
Yeah, fitting room, and I was like, let me just check the score real quick. 21-9 said, okay. That's all I need to see. This is over. And then I checked one more time, and it was like 35-10. And I was like, okay, I'm turning off my phone. I'm not checking again.
It was good. It was UVA so bad.
They suck. but it's incredible that they're going to finish third.
Let me ask you this. So I think what we found out in previous years is that conference tournaments can only hurt you. Now,
yeah,
like Duke wins the ACC tournament last year, finishes as a 5 seed. They probably should have been up to that 4-3 line if you include those ACC tournament games, but it just feels like those games just don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
If you're Virginia, wouldn't you rather not have the double bye playing a better team on Thursday? Wouldn't you rather just get that one win on Wednesday versus a 11-14 Boston College?
But I think it's one less opportunity
to
lose.
But even if you lose Thursday, I think the same thing happens to where it negatively impacts you.
Yeah. I do think, though, when Georgia Tech beat Syracuse, I think it'd probably be.
How did we end up on a Virginia
tangent? Lose by 15 to UNC because we're talking about 3-bid, 4-bid.
Okay,
ACC.
yeah, that's right. Right.
I think Virginia sneaks their way in. No one's going to be happy about it, and usually,
and they are in Dayton. Regardless,
yes,
you know that you know your fate.
I'm the one, and they're going to be playing another like big time coach or program.
Yes,
that's how this is going to work. They're going to be playing like Rick Pitino because they're going to be like,
we
want Tony Bennett and Rick Pitino,
or
Tom
the
Izzo.
other Pitino, his son in New Mexico.
I would welcome a Mountain West team. I would welcome that, but
That's a legacy game for both of us, actually.
It is. But it's one of those games where, this is one of those seasons where, people say, like, UVA sucks, UVA sucks, UVA sucks. And I'm, like, the one being like, here's why they don't suck.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, they suck.
Yeah. Remember how I told you that I wasn't going to let Joe Lenardi get to me anymore?
Yeah.
He got to me.
What'd he do?
So he's actually putting Duke at 9 overall, which I think is very fair, because I actually think Duke's resume is kind of on the weaker side. I don't think they've beaten anybody that good, to be honest. But that's neither here nor there. But Lenardi did the thing where he put Duke at 13 after beating Virginia for a minute, and then moved him back up the next day.
You just can't track, because he's not really up to date.
It's
so
so frustrating.
It is frustrating.
I saw that. And I got very angry. And then I realized, I'm like, wait, Joe Lenardi is just a white-collar version of Big Game Boomer.
Yeah.
They're kind of the same person, just one does it in a different way.
I like that take. I never thought of it that way, but you might be onto something.
Because Joe Lenardi knows what he's doing. He's not stupid.
He does.
He knows.
He's actually really smart. He's a dweeb, but he's smart.
Yeah, I know. Basement guy, nerd, that's fine. I don't hate those people. But, yeah, he's literally a Big Game Boomer. And Big Game Boomer never actually gets to me. We had him on the podcast, actually.
Really?
Nice guy. I got nothing bad to say about Big Game Boomer. Does it for the engagement. I respect it.
Yeah, but the problem is, I've gotten the sense he doesn't admit that that's what he's doing, and he acts personally offended.
Maybe.
That's my impression. And you can't do that. You can't do
that's
that.
true.
You gotta wear it on the chin.
It's like when Dylan Connor and I were doing Taylor Swift clips. We're like, hey guys, we're only doing this for engagement.
Yeah, exactly. Which is fine,
Yeah, it worked. 200,000 people thought Connor was insane, but that's fine.
It's amazing.
Shout out the Zach Wilson clip. But yeah, no man, Wake sucks. Steve Forbes, I'm devastated.
That's the problem. Is the fourth team is gonna suck. But I feel like this is perfect. This is actually perfect for Virginia to go in the tournament. And every year we're like, no, this Virginia team's actually pretty good. Why is everyone picking to lose? We're, as Virginia fans, going to be like, this team stinks, and they're going to make the Sweet 16. No, guys, don't pick them. So my friends are still going to be mad at me.
There's no
because
way.
They're going to ask for advice, and I'm going to say, actually, they stink. Pick them to lose, and then they'll win. And then everyone's going to be mad at me. You don't know.
That is all-time delusional thinking. That is all-time reverse psychology.
It is. No, but this team,
they suck.
They shouldn't make the tournament.
They're terrible.
No, they're awful. They are not deserving of being in the tournament. Their resume says that they are, but no.
Yeah. You could have said that about last year.
They're a 4 seed though. They won the ACC. It's not our fault that no one else stepped up and said we're going to take this from you. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Blame that one on Duke too. But yeah, that's all. Anything else on the ACC bubble stuff is just kind of annoying.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, Tuesday night in Dayton. I can't wait. Because there's a real chance you have 3 games to worry about that week.
I prefer it on Tuesday.
Get it over with, so you have a day to recover.
I don't like Wednesday, a Wednesday night.
No, because you're already in that's Wednesday night. It's like if they played an NFL game.
Eve.
Yeah, it's like if they played an NFL game at 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve. You're like, dude, I'm getting up for Christmas the next morning. I don't care about Raiders Broncos. I don't care.
No, literally, that's the way I feel. Oh well.
That Wednesday night's glorious though.
That'll be great. That'll be great content though.
It's very hard
Virginia
to sleep
in the first 4.
I'm like a little kid, just tucked in bed at night, just so excited.
We need I want give me Virginia Villanova.
Oh, okay.
And people will be like, ooh, that's kind of
segment.
People will be like, ooh, that's an interesting matchup. But people who know ball know that game sucks.
That game would be a disaster. Let's move on. That's
in 2017, it would have been a great game.
National Player of the Year. Obviously, it's Zach Edey. We already know. It's done. It's dusted.
But it should be Dalton Connect.
It should be Dalton Connect.
He's the best player in the country. I've come around to this. We had this discussion earlier in the season. I said Zach Edey. And I've come around to, no, it's Dalton Connect.
It's 100%
You still got to give it to Zach Edey, but it's Dalton Connect.
Yes, but when you're talking about best player, I know Mark Titus did this whole thing. We do the Heisman back-to-back. And Zach Edey has the stats. He's on probably the best team in college basketball right now. Let's take away Dalton Connect from this Tennessee team. They're fine. But
7 to 10 seed?
Yes, probably. And Zach Edey's gone. They put in a new center. Nah, they're probably bad too.
They're
I
probably
don't know.
similar.
I think
Braden
Purdue-
Smith is good, though.
I think Purdue's very talented, and I think they just rely too much on Edey. I think if Edey's out of the picture, they would be fine in the end.
Yeah.
Like, I think they would figure it out.
I think everyone will be, like, as Mark Titus said too as well on this show, like, I think everyone will be better off. Make the Final Four, move on from, get the monkey off your back, get Zach Edey also off your back, and just be a normal basketball team with the monkey off the back.
What do you say about the R.J. Davis National Player of the Year people? I mean, those are like the full-on delusional Carolina fans.
Those are the it's not MJ or LeBron, it's Kobe. That's the R.J. Davis for Player of the Year.
The problem is they're all UNC fans, so they're like, it's MJ.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
though.
I know what
Like,
you're
we got to be interesting throwing the third guy.
Yep.
And it's like, no. R.J. Davis is
He's awesome.
He should be a consensus first team All-American.
Yeah, 100%.
But he's the third one.
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah.
But Dalton Connect, man. I mean, dude's averaging 25 a game right now in the SEC.
No, he's unreal. He's so good. He's you watch him and you're like, this is an NBA player. He reminds me kind of
Gordon Hayward?
he kind of reminds me of Luka a little bit in that he's not athletic, but he gets to his spots.
Yeah, I see that.
Do you know what I mean?
You mix those two together, though, because
Yeah.
he's kind of got the same movements as Gordon Hayward, where Gordon Hayward can, like, when he's at his peak athleticism, he actually, like, floats, kind of. I don't know, it's weird to say.
Connect does that, too, where he's just in air close to the basket. Yeah, no, but, like, he just gets to his spots. No one can keep him from getting to his spots, and he makes tough shots consistently.
Real quick.
He's fantastic.
Random side tangent. I think the SEC is the best league in college basketball. I know Big 12 people aren't going to like that. The SEC is it is the most fun to watch, but I believe in the SEC teams more than I do the Big 12 teams in March. Therefore, I think that should be the best league.
I think it depends, at least for me. I think that I don't know. I don't love some of these SEC teams though, like Alabama, Auburn. I'm like,
yeah, but
I believe in Tennessee.
You believe in Tennessee.
I believe in Kentucky.
You
to
know
a
you believe in
degree.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
South Carolina, I don't believe in.
No.
They're a team that's just overachieving like none other.
No. I think it's close, but I think the depth of the Big 12. You know who I like in the SEC?
Don't say Ole Miss.
No, I was gonna say I like Florida.
Oh, Florida's great. Florida's a team where you're like, oh yeah, I see them in the Sweet 16 this year.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that means Virginia should be in the tournament because Virginia beat Florida.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, there we go. Random side tangent. Oh, as we're sitting here, the hot honey pizza is back. Pizza Hut.
Yeah, that and the cheesa. That's gonna be the Thursday lunch and dinner.
We got to stop recording these like late at night.
Yeah, I think we might.
Oh, I can't wait.
Brutal.
The hot honey pizza and the cheese. Let's do conference player of the years. We're going to run through each conference, and we're going to give our consensus player of the year. A lot of these are going to be very easy. Some of these are going to be a little more challenging.
3 of them, it's like we've already
mentioned. 3 of them we know. Let's get those out of the way. Big Ten, Zach Edey. I did want to ask this for those conferences that do have the automatic one. Who's second in the Big Ten? Someone from Illinois? Someone from...
I was going to say maybe...
Terrence Shannon?
Can I just ignore the part where he was gone for
for
the reasons he was gone?
Yeah, we don't talk about off the court stuff here.
Yeah, the second best player in the Big Ten is Terrence Shannon.
Yeah, that's a pretty steep drop. This might be bad. Is Braden Smith?
That came across my mind as well.
Like, he is unreal. That's the thing that people don't realize about this Purdue team is he is taking that next step. That game last night at Illinois, what a shot at the end. I mean, that was cool. That's what you need to see out of your Purdue guards is them making the big plays. Because guess what? At the end of the game, Zach Edey's not getting that ball. No. It's going to go to Braden Smith or Lawyer or Gillis, whoever on this Purdue team. So,
agreed.
Yeah, I think I would choose Braden Smith as the second best player in the Big Ten.
I think you might be right. Marcus Damask is someone who stepped up.
Yeah. Meh.
It's not anyone from Wisconsin. Store, if they were playing well, would have been in the conversation.
That's gross.
No one on Michigan. Tyson Walker, but like hasn't he dropped off?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Big Ten, Zach Edey, no problem. ACC, R.J. Davis, easy. Who's 2 in the ACC?
Is it Filipowski?
Is it? Is Filipowski the best player on his team?
McCain, Hinson?
McCain, no. He's Rookie of the Year. He's not.
Hinson?
No. Baycott? The ACC runs through him.
No. Hunter Salas?
Hunter South, that's what I was going to say. Other thing about Wake, I know I'm jumping all over the place this episode, but other thing about Wake is Steve Forbes, we know who this guy is. He has a first-team All-ACC player every year and just does nothing with them and barely misses the tournament, but just had to get that out there. ACC, I guess it would be Filipowski too. PJ Hall?
Maybe in December.
Yeah, I'd probably say Filipowski's probably too. That doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I'm a Duke fan saying that too.
It's going to be I think it's going to end up being, it's going to be the first team All ACC. Is it going to be Davis, Baycott, Filipowski,
PJ Hall, Hunter
Salas. 2 weeks ago it would have been Reese Beekman.
Yeah.
But
I would probably go with Hunter Salas because he's averaging 20 a game lately. I think he's at 19.3 a game, something like that.
That's another steep drop-off.
Yes.
SEC is not as steep.
No, Dalton Connect, easy SEC player of the year, no-brainer. His two.
I'd go Reed Shepherd.
I think I would too. I don't think I would go.
That's sort of it's hard because I don't really have numbers pulled off, but I'm just in my mind who's the second best player.
The numbers I think are a little more relevant because we'll talk about the Big East. The Big East guys I'm mentioning, I don't even think they're in the top 10 for scoring in the Big East this season. So, the scoring and that stuff doesn't really matter as much. I think it has to be Reed Shepherd. I don't think anybody would I don't want anybody from Auburn, Bama, no. Florida, no.
Marcus Sears, I guess it has to be in there.
Yeah, Bama.
Should we go Big 12 next?
Yeah, let's do Big 12 as we're watching a Big 12 game.
Shed.
No, I don't think it's a debate.
It would have been. It might have been McCullough if he didn't get hurt.
LJ Cryer. I think people like to point to LJ Cryer just because he averages more a game than Shed.
Yeah, Shed is their MVP.
Shed runs that team.
Yeah, no, it's Shed's team.
When people mention player of the years, do you go with this is the best player, or do you go with best player on the best team? Usually
I go with
with
best player.
I think it's best player.
Yeah,
I did too. Okay, I just wanted to make sure there.
If it's best player on best team, it's why vote for it? It's
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
what are we doing?
Big 12, I think it's Shed. Anybody who says Dickinson has not watched them play,
it's not all that good. He's just Baycott.
And then after that, I don't care what you have to say. Nobody else comes close to those guys.
McCullough is going to be on first team, Big 12. Cryer.
Yeah, but I would have said McCullough if he played the whole season.
Jacoby Walter.
He's like an NBA. He's an NBA guy.
He's more just a projected.
Yeah.
Ray J. Dennis.
Yeah, he's averaging
I'm just naming
a bunch
good
of
players
assists
on good teams.
Yeah, no one from BYU.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we would go in the Big 12.
And that's not as meant as an insult to BYU is what.
No,
actually,
that's good.
It's meant.
That's a compliment.
Yeah, no, it is a compliment. You don't know, there's no drop off from 1 to 8 for them practically.
All right, let's breeze through these last two. Pac-12.
It's Caleb Love.
It is Caleb Love. Everyone wants to say Isaac Jones at Washington State. It's Caleb Love. And
it is Caleb Love, and it's one of those things where the divorce was R.J. Davis and Caleb Love are the same thing, so they couldn't coexist. Now that they are flourishing, now that they're apart.
Caleb Love, R.J. Davis. I want to see Carolina versus Arizona in
Maybe
the NCAA
Elite
tournament, either Elite Eight or Final Four.
Yeah,
imagine that Final Four: Caleb Love and Arizona versus Carolina in Phoenix. We're there. And Caleb Love rips their hearts out.
That'd be amazing.
That would be great. That'd
be amazing. That'd be amazing.
Big East, last one.
Tristan Newton.
I think it's Newton too. I think he's better than Kolek. I know Kolek's missed some games. I like
Kolek's got to
Newton
be in the conversation.
Yep.
Maybe Baylor Shireman's good.
No, it's
I don't
Newton.
think he's really in that, but
Newton's unreal, man. I mean, dude's a guard averaging 7 rebounds a game, 6 assists. And I think it's 15 points a game. That's an incredible
I was
stat
not
line.
expecting this jump. I thought he was just a stabilizing force.
And I think I thought he just got hot in March last year where he was just playing his best ball.
Mm-hmm.
But he kept it going. He made that jump.
Yeah.
All right, that's Conference Player of the Year. National Coach of the Year. Real quick. Quick fire.
Kyle Smith, coach of Washington State.
Mark Pope.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. I think he should be in the conversation.
That's up there.
I think he should be in the top 5 of the voting.
You are the lamest person ever if you're well, it's either between Dan Hurley or Matt Painter. It's what are we doing?
Matt Painter shouldn't even sniff the discussion.
What are we doing?
I kind of understand Dan Hurley because there was roster turnover, and they are arguably the best team in college basketball.
Purdue is the same thing, and they're still good. Cool. Good
Yeah.
for you.
And the other thing is, dude, Coach K won what, like 2 Coach of the Years?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. You don't win it. It's like the Heisman. You don't win 2. You don't, especially back to back.
Yeah.
No shot. Last thing I want to do before we get into game previews. Top tournament guys. So we have our guys like RJ Davis, Dalton Connect we've talked about. But who are the guys that are – I think that there's going to be some obvious picks here, but who are the guys you're like, okay, I like this guy coming out. You know, maybe it could be like Max Asmus or, you know, he was the guy for Oral Roberts that year. It could be Jeremy Roach. It could be one of those guys because it's easy to pick the Connects, the Davises, the Edys of the world.
Mm-hmm. I think that if they are able to get into the tournament, Tucker DeVries could be a guy like, especially with sort of like a redemption type opportunity for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's someone who could step up in that spot. He's the one that kind of came to mind for me randomly enough.
I think that people are going to point to Robert Avila, the Indiana State guy, just because he's such a meme. I don't think it bodes well in the tournament. I think he's that fake guy. I think I'm kind of in the ballpark where I'm going to fade.
I thought Taco Fall was that guy too, though. Sometimes I'll think that, and they actually are that guy.
Yeah,
you know?
I
get what you mean. I lean towards your side.
leaning more towards I'm going to fade Indiana State in the first round if they make it, because it feels like everyone's going to fall in love with him, and I love him. I love watching him. He's great.
I feel like it's like the casual thing to do.
Yes, it is. Yes, I think where you're like, ooh, I like this Indiana State guy, Robbie Avila, and you're just like, like he's fine. But then there's like these big conference guys like the 8, 9, 7, 10s. I know I did the Texas thing. I posted the Texas TikTok at the worst time. Yeah. It would look great. Posted it right before the Baylor game, and then halftime they're up 8, and I'm like, oh yeah, nice. That Texas TikTok's looking good. And then just crumble, and then you just all of a sudden Texas is back in that same spot.
I've got another one, just because he was really good like a week ago, was Josh Hubbard, the freshman 5'10 guard for Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
He had 34 against Kentucky. That's a guy in an 8-9 game that could light it up.
Yep.
Maybe even in the second.
Mississippi State's a very much a team you want to avoid in the 8-9 game.
Especially if a guy like that can shoot, they're dangerous because they play great defense.
Their defense is so good.
They can't score. So if they have a guy who's like carrying the load offensively, I think they could be in a good spot.
And that's why you have to believe in a team like Tennessee this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's a similar thing, except they're just better.
Yeah.
Just a 10 times better version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great
Should
point.
we do Duke Carolina preview?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Duke Carolina this Saturday, the revenge match. Carolina won last time. They killed Duke last time. I don't even remember what the score was. I think it was double digits when it was said and done.
Yeah. I mean, they were up by like 10 the entire time.
I wish Connor was here. I do wish Connor was here for this. This is why we want him on the show, especially for this. He's not here, so there's no one to defend Carolina today. So it's going to be Duke propaganda nonstop. Games in Cameron, college game day, the whole 9 yards. We know the deal. Duke's winning Saturday.
Yeah, they are by like 10.
Yeah, I think Duke handles Carolina on Saturday. I could
so
look stupid on this TikTok right now and look like an idiot when Carolina wins by like 3 or something, but I feel weirdly confident about this Duke game on Saturday. I think Duke's playing their best ball right now. I think Carolina, they look good against Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's not a great team.
They've played their best ball in the past.
I think they peaked in late January, early February.
I think that Duke game,
it was that Duke game was their peak.
It was.
And then it's
just... Because it kind of went downhill a little bit. They've rebounded from that.
And they've won games. I'm not saying they haven't won games, but they're not winning them convincingly. You're playing a terrible Miami team at home, who Miami just lost to Boston College tonight at home, and you won by 2? You won by 2? I'm concerned about this Carolina team. I said it last time. If Elliot Cadeau can score the ball in any way, whether it's layups, floaters, three-pointers, however, free throws, if he can score the ball, Carolina wins. If he gets the 12, 13 points, Carolina wins.
He won't, though.
He won't in this game, no.
This is one of those things. Remember when I said last time that it'll range from 4 to 10 points?
Yeah, and Duke feels out of it.
Yeah, like that. That's all. I'm like UNC is just sort of like Duke's sort of hanging around, but UNC wins, and you don't really feel like there was much of a doubt except that it was kind of close the entire time.
Yep.
I think this is the same thing the other direction.
Yep. 100%.
I think this is one of those like matchups in where I just think it's just neutral site. It's coming down to like the last possession.
Yep.
But otherwise, it's a 2-possession game favoring whoever's playing at home.
Yeah, I like Duke's matchups, and also, like, let's not forget Harrison Ingram hit 4 threes in that last game.
Not happening.
That's not happening again. RJ Davis, they basically said, hey, anybody but RJ Davis beat us. I think the same.
And Baycott
had a good game, but
he could have a good game again.
Yeah, I actually don't.
You guys just don't match up well against him.
Yeah. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to regret saying this. It might be a Ryan Young game.
The Ryan Young legacy game?
It might be podcast boy game. It's senior night for him. It might be a weird Ryan Young kind of game. Or I think Sean Stewart could come in. I think he's going to wreak havoc too. I think Duke might have a little problem there with the old Mark Mitchell, Sean Stewart thing. I think someone might be jumping the other, and I think Sean Stewart's becoming that better player. I think he's and I don't mean this in a bad way. I think Caleb Foster's a great player. I think he's going to be a great player. He's a young freshman point guard. They're going to make mistakes. But Duke has benefited so much from Caleb Foster getting injured. And I'm not saying I wish injury by any means, but I think it's been positive for them because Proctor's had his resurgence. We've finally seen that, okay, McCain is that guy. He can be that guy to score 20 in a game. He can come back. He scored 16 in the second half against NC State. Jeremy Roach picks his spots. Filipowski. It just opens the game up, and the game is a lot more fluid and smoother. Caleb Foster, he dribbles way too high. He has soft passes, and he stalls the game too much when he runs the offense. Therefore, I think if you look at the last UNC game, I think that was a huge problem in that game. I know we're talking a lot of inside college basketball right now and getting a little too much into the weeds, but I think Caleb Foster was slowing up the tempo too much, really stalling the offense. It became all right, Caleb Foster dribble for 10, 15 seconds, and then, holy crap, what am I going to do? Freak out, and then try and make a play, Jeremy Roach. Try and make a play, Tyrese Proctor.
Yeah, and you can at least play a guy like TJ Power where it's like at least he knows what he's supposed to be doing, so you can give breaks. You can like rotate through Proctor, McCain, and Roach and have Power at the 3, and it's just like you stand there and shoot threes.
Yeah, and TJ Power can guard Cormac Ryan.
Yeah. Cormac Ryan's not very good.
Yeah, and I say that, and he's just going to drop 5 threes on us.
Because you know how I've talked about how Cormac Ryan sucks? He hit like 10 threes against UVA.
I hate him. Him. I cannot stand him.
I hate him too.
But from the Carolina side of things, how does Carolina win this game?
I think it's Baycott putting up like 25-15.
Yeah, I think it needs to be a big Baycott.
It's just like doing the same thing they did last time, and I don't think they're doing it again in Cameron.
Yeah, I think, and I also think if Baycott can get Filipowski into that foul trouble, if we get Baycott, it might just come down to, hey, which big man gets into foul trouble first, Baycott or Filipowski? We're playing in Cameron. I would assume that goes our way.
I think so, too. I would think so, too.
So, I mean, if you get Baycott out, Jalen Washington is not ready for this game.
He looked a lot – is it me? He looked a lot better last year than he did this year.
Yeah,
or maybe he just didn't make the jump, and so like because he was like, "Ooh, this is an intriguing freshman."
Yeah, I think that's more what.
And now it's like he's still just an intriguing sophomore, but the production isn't there, so it's like,
Yeah, and
I'll be interested to see if that's their guy at the center spot next year, but we don't need to get into that.
He needs to put on 20 pounds, but yeah, man, I feel weirdly confident about Duke in this game. I want to win so bad. I need to win so bad.
And I think it sets up for we need a neutral site, Duke, UNC.
No, we don't. We don't need it in DC. It does feel.
You know what it feels like?
What's that?
No, you're gonna get mad at me or make fun of me. It feels like Virginia somehow beats one of them and then loses to the other by 30.
This delusional thinking's insane. You guys haven't scored 50 points in like a month.
Well, then who else is going?
Duke or Carolina?
Okay, well, like,
or Wake. I'm taking Wake, or maybe even Pitt instead of you guys. Only thing Virginia has going for them is they have the closest fans to the ACC tournament.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys have to score 50 points. Please score 50 points on Saturday.
I would like to.
Don't make this a 3-bid ACC. Do not do that for us. Don't choke.
Yeah, Wake has put that evil on us at this point. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah, but Duke Carolina, man.
You're yelling at me, but it's a 4-bid league if they beat Carolina. Virginia beats Carolina if Cormac Ryan doesn't hit 8 threes.
No, I think if Virginia wins Georgia Tech and wins Thursday against NC State,
they're fine.
They're going to get in. So it's a 4-bid league either way. You guys don't have to beat Duke. Also, Duke's not winning Saturday. Congrats, Carolina. You guys won. It's already over. Carolina already won. But anyhow, score predictions for Saturday.
I'm going to go with Duke 89, Carolina 83.
High.
Yep.
That's very high scoring.
Yeah, I don't know. This UNC defense, I'm not like.
Yeah, I'm going to go Duke 84, Carolina 74.
Okay.
I think it's a 10-point win for Duke. I think they get a home win in Cameron. I think we see a weird character from the Duke side come out in this game. Like a Justin Robinson like character come out and you're like, where did this guy come from? This is awesome.
It's going to be. I could totally see it being
like Ryan Young. I want it to be Ryan Young.
I could see it being like a TJ Power finds a stroke.
All of a sudden TJ Power brings out his inner Alex O'Connell versus Syracuse, and you're like, he hit 6 threes against Carolina, and he's 6 for 6, Ryan Kelly style.
Yeah, I could see it.
TJ Power, yeah. I like Duke a lot in that matchup, but anyhow, let's move on. Let's get to the last 2 games, and we'll get out of here. Kansas-Houston, games in Houston, rematch of the game from we did these 3 games before. We did these 3 games last
literally
time.
On the yeah.
And Kansas won last time. The game was in Lawrence. McCullers obviously healthy to play this time too, as well. What are your thoughts going into Houston, Kansas?
It's in Houston.
Yeah.
Kansas isn't very good.
Kansas stinks on the road.
Houston is very good.
Great analysis.
Dude, I really don't have that much more to say. I mean, my score prediction last time did all the talking with Kansas Baylor.
Kansas Baylor. The people aren't talking about the Carolina NC State one too. You're 1 point off.
Yeah.
You're 1 point off because you said 80-70, right? And it's 79-70.
Yep.
Pretty impressive.
It is.
But yeah, Kansas Houston. Give me
Houston.
Record scratch. Give me Houston. Kansas won 2 games on the road. Yeah. Even with McCuller,
yeah, I mean they've lost games at West Virginia, at UCF, right?
Yes, at West Virginia, at UCF. They got obliterated at Texas Tech. They lost at Iowa State.
And also, Houston 80, Kansas 64. Houston returns the favor of just a kind of annihilating them.
I think it's close. I think it's Houston 73, Kansas 72. I think Jamal Shedd has a good game. I think Houston comes out. I think Kansas comes out early, takes a nice lead. And Houston comes back, brings it in, and they close out late. And I think LJ Cryer buzzer beater, game winner. Okay. Give me Houston 73, Kansas 72. Last game, Tennessee, Kentucky. Games in Knoxville this time, I believe, if I did my homework right. Where are you going here?
Yeah, it's in Knoxville. I am going with. I think Tennessee's due a loss.
So we're aligned.
I think it's Kentucky.
This is a Kentucky spot.
I think it's a Kentucky spot.
Because you're going to see the line come out. You're going to see, Tennessee's favored by 4.5, 5? Mm-hmm. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's low. I don't know. People like to bet Kentucky, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tennessee, I think, clinched at least a share of the regular season title of the SEC. Mm-hmm. So I think this is potentially a letdown spot in terms of, of course it's a big game.
Has Kentucky lost the big game this year on Saturday? Other than to Tennessee? Tennessee they lost, right? So,
no.
But since then, they beat Auburn.
They beat Alabama.
They beat Alabama. I think those are their only ones other than Tennessee. Yeah. I don't see Tennessee sweeping them, though.
No, I don't. I think Kentucky wins this game because I think this is one of those games where Kentucky gets hot and there's nothing a great Tennessee defense can do about it, and then it's going to be like Tennessee keeping up. I think Kentucky can go multiple different directions with its scoring, whereas I don't think Tennessee can do that as much, or at least I don't trust that they can do that as much.
Yeah.
So I think this is one of those games where Kentucky, it's kind of a higher scoring game than you'd think.
I think it's going to be similar to the Carolina-Tennessee game, to where it was, Carolina got out early, they got hot, and Tennessee's just playing catch-up the whole game. Like, Dalton Knecht finishes with 35 points, but...
Yeah. He's hitting a step back down 9 to cut it to 6.
Yeah, and he's like triple teamed, and you're like, how did he make that? And no one glances an eye because they're down 13 with 8 minutes left. Score predictions.
Kentucky 88, Tennessee 74.
Ooh, low for Tennessee.
Yeah, I just think it gets away from them quick.
I'm gonna go Kentucky 98, Tennessee 91.
Okay.
I think it's very high scoring. I bet the total is 165 in this game.
It'll be high.
It'll be a very high total. Anything else?
I don't think so. I'm ready to just enjoy watching these games and then just get into conference tournament time.
I did break our rule. I have been tuning into conference tournament games.
Oh no.
I was watching some Old Dominion Texas State last night. ESPN Plus, man, we got to fix some stuff. These student-run broadcasts are killing me.
It's awful.
Did you see it last night?
No, but I know what you're referring to.
There's 6. It says the clock on the scorebook has 6 seconds left, and a guy's taking a half-court shot. Yeah. And I'm sitting here like, what is this idiot doing? Meanwhile, he didn't even get the shot off because the scorebook was 6 seconds off.
It's terrible. I think I can watch all of these. Like Saturday, I'm assuming there will be
a championship game.
There will be a few of these championship games, and I'll be watching those. I'll be tuned to that.
I want there to be an app where it just immediately feeds you, like, hey, by the way, this game's close. Like, Apple TV will do that.
I want an app just telling me that there's a conference championship game on. Like, I just want to be like, hey, this is the first conference championship.
You're not going to watch beginning to end, and especially if it's a blowout, you're not going to tune in.
I want to keep track. But I just want to, like, see what's going on.
But I want there to be a notification where it's like, hey, ASUN Conference Championship, there's 5 minutes left, tie ball game. Click this link and you can watch it.
Arch Madness? Are you excited for like an Indiana State Drake conference
That's
championship?
The only way I'm excited. I will tune in regardless because that one's the Sunday morning one. It's like a Sunday morning CBS
I think
game.
It might be.
Yeah.
In A10, you could get a good like Davidson-Richmond game. They'll both be in, but they're both good teams. Gonzaga, St. Mary's is always
Dayton,
good.
Richmond.
What'd I say?
Davidson.
I meant Dayton.
Big difference.
Because I was thinking of 2 years ago. There was a great Sunday game between Davidson and Richmond, where Richmond won to make it a 2-bid league.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because Davidson played Michigan State.
I love that we just remember this Dayton Richmond game. But yeah,
I remember sitting
I was watching that.
Like Davidson, Michigan State's an all-time like holy crap. Like those are auto picks in the first round in a 7-10 game. Like I automatically pick Davidson and I lose. I don't think genuinely I don't know if Davidson has won a first-round game since Steph Curry's been there. But I pick them every time. And
then that same year you get Memphis, Boise State, and you're like, I want them both to lose. Why? Anyway,
you're like, I know I'm losing this game. My grandma lives in Boise. F it, give me Boise.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's a white girl way to pick your bracket.
It is, but sometimes
like,
you got to do that.
I like the Broncos.
Sometimes it's like if you really don't know, pick for who you're going to be pulling for.
Yeah.
Just makes it more fun.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, conference tournaments are coming this Saturday. I tuned in a little bit, but yeah, when it's fun, man. It's fun.
It is.
It is like whenever you're watching, you're like, oh man, like you feel so bad for like when Eastern Kentucky blows it, and you're just like, oh man, dude, like their season was on the line.
I also want notifications like, is a team like Samford or Grand Canyon, not Graham Canyon. That's the BYU coming out of me. Grand Canyon, one of those teams like, do they lose? Like, let me know if they're losing in like the semifinals. Because I like the teams that are supposed to win their tournaments, let me know if they're losing.
Yeah. No.
Anyway.
I'm very excited. But next week we have conference tournaments. That will be out Monday morning. We're previewing all the conference tournaments.
Sunday night, I think.
Yep, Sunday night predictions, the whole 9 yards. And then we'll be back 1 week later, Selection Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Selection Sunday. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too.
Oh my gosh. All right, that's it from us. make sure to download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com to get $20 off your first purchase using code KarterKast. That's KarterKast. $50 minimum purchase required. First purchase only. Use code KarterKast at SeatGeek.com today. Thank you for sponsoring the show once again. At BDHammond28, at KarterKast on all social media, at KarterBA on Twitter as well. We'll be back Monday. Like I said before, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, subscribe on Apple. We'll be back. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.